Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the August 26, 2013 Raleigh Board of Selectmen. Remind everybody that this meeting is being audio and videotaped. We have a little technical difficulty tonight, that's why the meeting is not being broadcast live. But this is a taped recording. First on the agenda to call the meeting to order and Pledge of Allegiance tonight. Dave, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, let's see. Next is Chairman's comments. I have Mr. Jack. Did you have any? Did you mention something? Oh, okay. All right. And from 7 o'clock until 7:10 will be citizen query. So if there's anyone in the audience has any questions, we'll open it up now. And just remind everybody to speak up loudly tonight. We have the air conditioning on and the sound for the sound, and it's quite difficult for us to hear. Just yes, and we have. Just please identify yourself and what street you live on. Larry, you had the first question, citizen query?
Yes, Larry White, Central Street. I understand that there's a opening on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and in talking with the Zoning Board, it seems that there's been a candidate whose application has been in for like 3 months. And there seems to be a question as far as who interviews them first. Does the zoning board interview the candidate first and then the selectmen, or does the selectmen interview them and then the zoning board? But from what I understand, there's been no movement either way, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on and how that can be remedied. Thank you.
Okay, Larry. And Larry, you know how the citizen query, we don't answer the question right now. We take it under advisement. We'll come back to you, okay?
Right.
Because it's not on the agenda. That's
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Bill Gaynor, 63 Central Street. I was just wondering if there's a possibility we can extend the hours for the farmer's market until 5 o'clock. A lot of people go off to the beach or to go to golfing or visit grandma, whatever, take a ride. It'd be nice for them to be able to come back and maybe pick up a couple of ears of corn or, a couple of lobsters for Sunday, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why they close at 1 o'clock, but I thought maybe we could try to see if we can get open until 5 o'clock. The farmers have a tough enough time as it is, competing with the larger farm stands around, plus the market baskets and what type. And a couple of rainy days, rainy Sundays, really puts a damper on. If they can sell a couple more bushels of corn maybe in the afternoon, or some more lobsters, whatever, I think it's going to be beneficial to the town and naturally the farmers. I'm not sure how we go about doing that. That's why I was here. And 5 o'clock, I think would be nice. That would give everybody an opportunity who's coming back, or they could purchase the produce.
Mr. Chairman, that would have to be initiated with the Agricultural Commission. They're the board that makes the request to the Board of Selectmen to use the town common. So they oversee that program.
I see.
So they put in a request for those hours and that time frame starting, I believe, in July through the end of September. Sometimes they'll extend the season, request to extend the season to the selectmen. So you may want to direct that to George Pasenka.
Right.
And
So
then
he was the
their
president.
board would vote to be
I
the
see.
ones, because they oversee that program.
I see.
And these
So-
are the hours that they have asked of the
Okay.
selectmen.
A couple of people have asked me if they like to go, golfing, whatever, or when they come home in the afternoon, it'd be nice to pick up some, food. But I will talk to George.
Yes.
And see what his procedure is. That's it.
That help? Oh, thank you, Dave. All right. Any other citizen queries tonight? Okay. Citizen query will go on for about another, we got a late start this evening, so about 12 after the hour. It is now 8 minutes after the hour. So, we have an appointment first thing at 7 o'clock. I'm sorry, it's 7:10, which will be in about 30 seconds. And we have to play it exactly, so we have to wait this minute. If I can talk this out, we can get right out to that other extra minute, and then we can start right in. Okay. And again, we have 4 appointments tonight, and these appointments are in regards to the Council on Aging, and looking for a representative, and we have 4 appointments, interviews, and so it is now 10 minutes after the hour. With that,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I hereby recuse myself from deliberations on the Council on Aging agenda items. I am an officer of the Raleigh Historical Society. As one of the candidates for the COA position is a director of said historical society, I therefore, to avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest, will not participate in this action. So I recuse myself from that.
All right, Bob.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. In our first interview tonight, Diane McMahon. All right, Diane. And you have a letter here. It says, I would like to volunteer for work to oversee the programs, agendas, services, and the Raleigh Council on Aging of Directors is responsible for maintaining forest position population. I have been retired for the past year, and I have lived in the town for almost 40 years. I would be more than pleased to work for the best interests of the seniors in my town. I feel I am more than qualified to assist in any way that is necessary. I have varied background. I was an elementary school teacher, a child psychologist with both a master's and a PhD, retired 1997 at the age of 50, a museum shop buyer and museum manager for 15 years, retired 2012. Current activities were with Raleigh. I've been on the board of directors with the Historical Society since 1990. I have chaired the fundraising committee that built an 1776 barn for the society. I am currently fundraising program committee for the society. Personal, I have a husband, 3 children, a son, and two daughters, and 2 grandchildren.
That's me.
That's you. That's good. Okay.
That's me.
Okay. First, tell us a little about yourself. You told quite a bit there, but
Well, last year I retired, so 2012 I retired. I'm still active. I was a little bit in shell shock when I retired and had nothing to do because I managed the Winter Museum.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was fun and it was wonderful, but it was time. And I retired.
It's a nice feeling, retirement, isn't it?
It's a different feeling, you know.
Yeah, you need
Here I
some-
am with all these skills and where should I pour them into?
Oh, good.
You know, and I thought, even though I had other requests, I thought this request fitted my, you know, it kind of, I want to stay local. I want to do what I can for Raleigh.
Joe, do you have any questions?
Why are you interested in serving on the board? The Culver
Like on the
board?
board, I was asked. It just was something. I've served on a lot of boards throughout the North Shore.
Right.
And this was kind of more, something more that I could work with, I guess you could say. And I know because I joined the Council on Aging when I retired.
Oh, okay.
And I know a lot about what's going on there. And I don't know, I thought it would be something that would that would interest me, plus I could, I have a lot of skills that I could use.
You're a good group down there, too.
They are.
Jack, you have any?
Yeah, are you available to attend the Council on Aging board meetings?
Yes, in the morning. I prefer doing anything in the morning and in the afternoon. afternoon. I don't like going out at night.
Yeah, I think, do they, Mary, do they meet in the morning, daytime
9
hours?
o'clock.
Right, okay, thank you.
Dave?
Can you, hi, how are you?
Good.
Can you just describe what you see as a function of the and duties of a board member for the council on Aging?
I think it's mainly to keep going what programs they have in play now, plus any ideas that might come up for fundraising, or I understand that, you know, they get a lot of their other stuff from, most of the money comes from the town or from the other senior places. I don't know. I'm still learning about all of this stuff. It's just, it's only been 2 weeks since I've been asked to join. So, but yeah, I mean, any kind of management skills, I'm your girl. And any kind of, you know, if there's a problem there. I was a child psychologist, so there's nothing there I can help. So, but
Might come in handy.
oh yeah, you know, everything is, you don't change much from the time you're this big.
Right.
You don't.
That's true.
Take it from a doctor.
We regress as we get older.
Yes, you go backwards,
Oh, I
yes.
hope not too much.
You understand, under the state ethics laws, all employees must take a test. Okay, and are you agree with that?
Yes, I was wondering why.
Well, everybody in the state of Massachusetts works.
I'm aware of that.
We have to take a test, an ethics test, something the legislature has passed. And you have to take it, just be aware of conflict of interest. There's a lot of things that a lot of people, especially when they get into government, they don't realize, and they could, without taking that test, you could trip up and you may get yourself in trouble. So to be aware of the laws and of the Commonwealth, it's a good idea to take the test. You have to take the test and you have to
Yeah,
pass
I
it.
understand that.
But it's like 20 minutes long, half hour. Oh, do it online.
Yeah, it's right on.
Yeah.
It's all multiple choice.
And how do I find it?
It's right on the
We'll give
computer.
you the website and everything
Oh,
else to
yeah,
do
it's
it.
right on the website.
I do it at my home computer, and I get the sheet at the end, and then I bring it down to the town clerk and have
Oh, so
it
you have to print
processed.
it off and then you process it?
So that you've done the test. It's a very easy test. It's hard to fail. It's one of those tests.
Yeah.
But it gives you an insight as
Yes.
to some of the conflicts that you might run into.
Yeah,
And
and my biggest
be aware
conflict
of.
was, is with the Historical Society. I've been on their board forever, and, although we're an independent society, we don't depend on, you know, state.
A lot of it too is if the board votes to purchase something or buy contractor service or something like that, you have to make sure that you're not, no relatives and those kinds. So there's a lot of different things that you don't really give too much thought to, that even though it's
Yeah.
what you consider to be a relatively minor board, you just don't want to get
Yeah.
yourself into
Okay.
difficulty. And some boards have more, tend to have more conflicts than others, depending on how much authority the board has, but it's just something,
I can
state
give-
law requires it.
I'll give you an example. I used to work for the phone company. So any issue that comes up dealing with the telephone company, I carefully look it over, and then I'll recuse myself in particular cases. So, or I will make everybody aware that that I worked for the phone company. So
That was my biggest problem, was the other board I'm on here in town. My name all over the all over the newspaper.
do you have anything else we should know?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Now, do I need to take this with me?
Sure.
You
Well,
can.
if you would,
Souvenir.
No.
we have plenty. We usually have like 12 left over every week. Thank you, Diane.
All right,
Thank you.
and you're going to, if this should come through, you're going to send me all the information I would.
Yes,
need.
we will.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. Okay, it is about 19 minutes after the hour, and in about 1 minute. Oh, citizen query is now, it's over, was over at 12 minutes past the hour. So, with that, here's, again, I've got about 30 seconds or so until it's 20 minutes after the hour. And at 20 minutes after the hour, we have an appointment with Edna Keys and, to discuss the COA vacancy. So with that, it is almost that time. So, 20 minutes after the hour, and again, we have an appointment with Edna Keys.
Yes,
Evening, Edna. How are you?
I'm very well.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
I'm gonna read your letter into the record, okay, that you sent. It says, "The Board of Selectmen, as a homeowner in Raleigh for many, many years, during which time I enjoyed being the secretary at the Pine Grove School and then secretary to the superintendent of Triton Regional School, I would like to, it would be my pleasure to serve on the Board of Council on Aging. Sincerely, Mrs. Edna Keys, Haverhill Street, Raleigh." Okay, Edna. We have some questions for you, okay? And I'll start. Just tell us a little about yourself.
Well, in addition to that, the many, many years is like 50.
I'm sorry, Edna, could you speak up? We have the air conditioning on tonight,
Oh, I'm
and we have
sorry.
some technical difficulties with the camera. So, sorry about that, but,
All
all
right.
right, thank you.
One more time.
All right,
When I said I've been a resident for many, many years, it's been 50 years. And loved every minute of it. Have seen a lot of changes. And as I said, I enjoyed being secretary of the Pine Grove School, and from there, I went to work for the superintendent. At that time, it was Dr. Henry Trainer. And we built Triton. And that was very exciting. And then later on, just a few years ago, I was the first secretary at the Conservation Commission here in Raleigh. And I enjoyed that as well. I also was secretary to the president of Essex County Gas Company for 9 years. From there, I went to the Anna Jakes Hospital, and I was secretary to the president there. So that's about it. I have 4 children. I'm a widow. I have 7 grandchildren, and my family means everything to me. So now that I'm retired, I'm enjoying them more than ever. However, I would like to give back to the town a little bit. So when I heard about this, I thought that's a good way to do it, because it's a wonderful organization. We're very lucky to have Mary Ellen Mile, let me tell you. And I think that's about it.
some more questions, Joe?
Can you give us more of an idea of why you would like to serve on the board?
I want to volunteer to do something,
Okay.
and I think this is a good way. Being a senior citizen myself, and I think it's just one of the best ways that you can do something.
Jack?
Yeah, are you available to attend Council on Aging meetings?
Yes,
That
make
wouldn't,
it a priority.
yeah, they meet in the morning, I understand.
I believe it's on the 3rd Wednesday of the
Yeah.
month.
Okay.
So that would work.
Dave?
You give us a little, good evening, can you give us a little indication of what you feel the board, the purpose of the Council on Aging Board is and what they do and how you might contribute to that endeavor?
Well, number one, I do whatever they ask me if I'm capable of doing it. I would like to volunteer to do, help out with Meals on Wheels, because they really need someone to do that. However, Jack Cook knows what kind of a driveway I have on April Street. It's about 700 feet, right, Jack?
At least.
So there are times in the winter when I might not be able to get out, and I wouldn't want to leave anyone stranded. If I make a commitment, I want to do it. So that would be out, but I would do just about whatever they want me to do. And be happy to do it, to try to make somebody's life a little easier.
Now, under the state ethics laws, you have to take a test. It's a very simple test, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Do you have any objection to taking that test?
What does it involve?
It's just
a
a
background check or
no. 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 It's a test you take online. You can take it on a computer, and it just it's going over laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and ethical situations you may be placed into, and it's a very simple test. I think it's like 30 questions.
Yeah.
About that.
Multiple choice.
Multiple choice.
Yeah.
And the prize at the end is.
And the prize is they
passed.
give you a certificate that says that you passed this,
You passed it.
and then you just bring it down to the clerk, and the clerk puts it on
No
file.
objection.
No objection. Okay. And what really basically it is, it puts you into hypothetical situations that you may be put in, being serving on a board or a committee, and so it helps you to, some issue might be cloudy to you. This will clarify it.
I see.
That's it. All right. Well, anybody have anything else with that? Edna, thank you for coming in
Thank you.
tonight.
Well,
Thank you very much.
my pleasure. And I will sign this and let you get on with your work.
Okay. It's 7:25, and our next appointment is at 7:30. It's Susanna Taylor Boyd.
Thank you, take care now.
Thank you, Edna.
So we got about 4 minutes, and with that 4 minutes, I don't think we can't do any general business because Bob's not here.
Okay.
Susanna, how are you?
Hi. Good, thank you.
I just want to remind you that we have our air conditioning on tonight. We have a little technical difficulty with the camera, so you have to speak up a
All
little
right.
bit.
I know I sound like a little kid, but I'm really 62. I just want to get that squared away with everyone.
No, it had nothing to do with it. Oh, it was
Okay.
just
I just
it was
wanted-
just a,
That's fine.
and plus my hearing is not what it used to be, so.
All right.
Okay. All right, so we have a few minutes before we have start the interview, okay, about 3 minutes.
All right.
And, because we have to do everything punctually, right on time. It's this way the town works. It's like a, fine oil machine here. So, I'll just go over some things. We have, again, we have to start, we'll have this appointment with Susanna Taylor Boyd at 7:30, and that's for the Council on Aging vacancy. At 7:40, we have an appointment with COA Chair Mary Bright. She'll be discussing the vacancy of the COA. And at 7:50, we have an appointment with Jean Petrillo. She'll discuss the water treatment plant contract issue that has risen. At 8 o'clock, we have an appointment with Conservation Agent Brent Bazelak to discuss FEMA flood maps. At 8:15, we have an appointment with the Essex County Greenbelt Association Director of Land Conservation, David Santomena, and Sue Moses, discuss the Girl Scout Camp property. At 8:30, we have another appointment, and that's with Erica Keefe to discuss the Girl Scout Camp property. At 8:45, we have an appointment with Paul Boudreau and Steve Comley for an update on the proposed bicycle competition on the Comley property. So we have a full boat tonight of appointments, and then after that we will go into, we have about 9 items of general business, 2 items of old business, and then we have a series of minutes to go over. And then we'll go into announcements, and then we will have to go in, tonight we have executive session, so that'll be at the very end. And as you see, I'm trying to stretch this out until 7:30.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
every night we do the announcements at the end of the meeting. I don't know how many people are still watching. If we got a couple of minutes that, like
Sure,
the food
we got a-
pantry, et cetera, might be valuable to take.
Sure. I'll
Make them now, we can always repeat them later. if we
Sure.
want.
Dave, good idea. Announcements. The Raleigh Food Pantry is in need of donations. The Raleigh Food Pantry is open Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Again, you can make your donations at the library here. There's a basket there, or you can go over to behind the parsonage beside the Baptist church, and you can make donations on those particular days. They are in need of everything. They would very much like, the last time I spoke to them, spaghetti sauce. If you go to the store and you happen to see some sale on some spaghetti sauce, they could use that. That's a great way for somebody in need. That's a very quick and easy meal for somebody to put together. So spaghetti sauce, spaghetti, those items. Also remind you there's a battery recycling box, and that is right out here in the corridor. And there's also one over at the Annex building. And if you have some old C and D batteries or anything like that, take them. And this is what I do: is I have a little plastic bag. I throw my old batteries in there, and then I drop them off right out here in the. It's a good way of being green. It's a good way of not taking those batteries and throwing them in the landfills. So if you have those batteries, the C's and the D's, just throw them in there. Yes, Bob?
I'd like to mention something.
Bob, can you just identify yourself?
Bob Petrollo, Haverhill Street. When you put batteries in for recycling, you should put like masking tape or scotch tape or something on one end, so you don't have electrical connection.
Oh,
and cause
good idea.
a fire.
Okay. Thank you.
Something a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah, you can do that with a 9-volt battery. You're right. That can cause it. Thank you, Bob. Okay. Okay, now it is 7:30. So, Suzanne Taylor Boyd is here. And Suzanne, I'm going to, if I can find it. Okay, it is to, Dear Selectmen, I am writing you today to consider me for the vacancy on the Council on Aging Board. It is my purpose to live each day through continuous improvement by being productive, responsible, accountable person who contributes to society, especially to the Raleigh community. Presently, I work part-time at the Raleigh Public Library and love my job there. I have recently become a friendly visitor through the Raleigh Council on Aging. It would be an honor to be part on the board and to assist in steering it towards its positive future. Closed as a copy of my resume. Thank you, Susan Boyd. Okay, with that, Susan, I'm going to ask you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Certainly, I've been a nurse for 30 years.
If you could, again, Susan, I'm sorry, can you speak up as best you can? Thank
My
you.
name's Suzanne. I like
I'm
to be
Suzanne,
called
I'm
Suzanne.
sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
I've been a nurse for 30 years. I don't do nursing anymore, obviously, because I work at the library, but I maintain my license. Once a nurse, always a nurse, I guess. I've lived in Raleigh 20 years. I've seen a lot of changes here. I feel blessed to live in Raleigh, and I feel that it's interesting as a nurse through the years. I wasn't tending towards liking the elderly population, and as I've gotten older, I've certainly grown to love them, and I've taken care of a number of elderly people and prefer them over the younger population. But I feel like the elderly really do need to be served in a special way.
You have quite a resume here.
Yes.
Yes. You went to Tufts?
I went to Tufts Medical School, and I also went to Emerson College, Emerson University College. I have 2 master's degrees, one in communication and one in health communication.
At Uville Hospital is in Cambridge?
Excuse me?
Uville Hospital,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I don't know
I
if
grew
that's
up
still
around
there.
the corner.
Okay, I think it's still there, but I don't think they have any patients anymore.
I don't
but
think so.
I started out as an LPN, and then I just loved school so much and loved nursing so much, I kept going back to school.
it's a tough job, isn't it?
It is a very tough job.
Yes,
You're always in the middle.
Yeah, but rewarding.
It is.
I have two nieces that are nurses, so I know what you mean.
Why are you interested in serving on the council board?
I feel like the population in Raleigh is gaining some ground as far as the number of residents who are elderly, and I feel like I would help in steering the committee towards, as I said, a positive future. It's a very united group, and I would stand behind them. I don't have any specific goals right now, but I feel like I'd like to be a part of that, and it's growing. And just speaking with them, they have some terrific ideas, plus the fact I think they're going to be expanding in the town hall annex, I hope.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Jack?
Yes, you available to attend the Council on Aging meetings?
Yes, I heard they were Wednesday mornings at 9 o'clock, once a month. Yes.
Thank you.
Dave?
Can you describe a little bit of your awareness of what the Council on Aging Board does in terms of dealing with the Council on Aging?
Well, I know that they come to you when they have a particular issue. They meet together once a month. They come to you with issues and you need to approve them or deny them. I know that. I don't know too much else about that. I just know that they're heading in the right direction as far as looking at future issues, as far as the Raleigh people are concerned. Plus, they do an amazing job with planning for disasters, especially for the elderly people. And I think that's a really big plus for Raleigh because not a lot of communities have that.
Thank you.
Susanna, you understand that we have a state ethics laws, we have a test.
That's correct. I took it for the library. I didn't
Okay.
bring my certificate tonight, but I do have a copy at home.
Okay. If you're familiar with it, that's
Yes.
fine.
Yes.
Yeah, we had to go explain the test to last candidates, but,
Okay.
but I had to go through it anyways, all right? So glad you've taken the test and
Yep.
you understand it.
I'd be willing to take it again if you need me to do that.
How long have you been with the library?
Since January.
You enjoying it over there?
I've always loved books, and I've always loved going to Raleigh Library, even when it was over in Weathersfield Road. But this is a gem.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
a
it
great
is.
library.
Yeah, I was on the board of trustees over there for a number of
Okay.
years.
Yeah, it is a great library. Very lucky. Well, Susanna, thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Thank you all very
Thank you
much
very
for
much.
seeing me and meeting with me. I know you have a heavy agenda tonight.
Do you have anything
so-
else to say?
No, just that I'd be honored to be on the
Okay.
board, so, but you already know that. Thank
Susanna,
you.
thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Thank you all.
Bye now.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Okay. Go back to, lost my piece of paper. And it's about 7:37, and we have a few minutes till we have an appointment with the Council on Aging Chair, Mary Bright, to discuss the filling of the Council on Aging vacancy. So again, we have 3 minutes, so I'm gonna go back to talk a little bit about, again, the battery recycling box. We have one out here in the corridor, and if you have any C batteries, D batteries, or Ds or something that, use, instead of taking and throwing them in the trash and they wind up in a landfill, take them, throw them in a little plastic bag, and then put a little tape over the contacts, right, Bob? And then
Good
put them in a plastic bag and then drop them off here at, right across from the clerk's office. I'll go over to the annex and drop them off in the box over there.
And also in the library.
And in the library, they have a box. So it's a good way of being green, okay? And then also, the town has the following seats vacant: Zoning Board of Appeals, Associate, 3 open seats. And then we also have 2 fence viewer positions and 1 wood lumber bark inspector, okay? So if anybody's interested in that, just contact the Selectmen's office here, and we will try to set you up in one of those positions. And again, remind you about the Raleigh Food Pantry. Food Pantry is open Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Thursdays from 5:30 to 7 p.m. They are in need of everything. So anything you want to drop off, just check the expiration date. Make sure it hasn't expired, because they cannot accept any food that it has expired on the date of the food. So, looking for, especially for spaghetti sauce and spaghetti, because that's a really quick meal that somebody in need can put together really quick for themselves. So if you remember that, drop off in the library, or again behind the parsonage, beside the Baptist church. Okay, it is 7:40, and with that, Mary Bright, come on forward. Please take a seat.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, Mary.
Mary.
Yes.
And Mary, you're gonna discuss, okay? So the Board of Selectmen, we just had the interview, and there is a vacancy on the Council of Aging. And with that, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Mary.
Okay. Last Wednesday, we interviewed the three ladies, and we had very long interviews with them, and, covered a lot of base. And I just think it's too bad we can't have the whole three, because they all had something to offer to us.
They do.
Yeah, and after we had discussed, when they left and we had discussed it, we decided that, we had to find who would be the best fit for us right now. And so we thought what would be good for the board, and also what the candidates had to offer to us. And we came up with the fact that we very much like Edna at this particular time, and that we would hope that the other two, who have so much to offer, at some time would be able to, give us help in other ways, because they're all very talented.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough choice tonight.
It was a very tough choice. It was a very tough choice, but I think right now, where we are, that Edna would, because Edna knows the people there, and knows a lot of the seniors, and goes into a lot of our activities. So I think right now it's a good call.
Okay. All right, Mary.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'd just like to repeat, I think all three of them have
Yeah.
wonderful resumes and could offer a lot to the council. It
Yeah.
was a very tough choice.
Yeah, it was a
Very,
very
very
tough
good
choice.
candidates.
But I'm hoping that we can interest them in something else as we go along, like even working in the office or whatever, that
That'd
they
be
could
great.
help us, yeah.
Jack, everything?
No, on the same page as I think all of us understand. We had three good candidates, and Mary's got a good point. Offer them to help out down there on
Yeah.
different occasions and step up. And I think maybe
And
they
who
would
knows,
help.
when we might have another opening or something,
Right.
and I was very impressed with them all, and I feel badly that I can't say yes to everybody, but, and while I'm on the subject, I would like to, thank Reverend Bob. We are certainly gonna miss him, because
Yes.
he did so much for us, but I can understand that he needed to move on, but we hope he just keeps in touch with us,
Yes, very much so.
yeah.
Is a very big contributor to the council. Very,
With
very
that,
much so.
with that
To the
said,
whole
I'd
town.
like to make a motion that the board send him a nice thank you letter for serving on the council.
I'll second
Because
that.
he's appointed by
Second.
the Board of Selectmen.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dave, do you have anything?
I would just like to, Reverend Bob has done so much for the community.
Right.
The volunteer work, the fire department work, everything he's involved in with the church, and he's so friendly and personable with everybody that.
He's been a very good friend to us.
Been a great guy, so.
Yeah.
It's a hard choice, and we got three good candidates, and it's always one of the difficult jobs of
Yep.
making appointments is if you only have one, most of them are lucky if we get one.
I know,
So to
I
get
know.
three qualified, it makes it difficult, but
Yeah.
Get three-
later on, I think we're gonna announce a library trustee vacancy, so maybe one of these two people might be interested
Yeah.
in that, because they seem
They
like
would
they're
be
very
good for that,
qualified to
yeah,
do that too, if they're interested
Yeah.
in helping, so. No, they were good interviews, and
Yeah, got three superb candidates, and it's really, it's tough. It really is.
It was the hardest one I ever did, that because they were so good, you know.
Based
Right.
on Mary's recommendation, I'd like to move that we appoint Edna Keys to the Council on Aging Board.
I'll second it.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
hey,
Mary.
good luck. You guys do a great job over there.
The Council on Aging appreciates it.
Mary, thank you so much for all the
appreciate
time
you,
you put
believe
in.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen,
You put
thank you
in
so
and-
much, and we'll be in touch.
Okay,
All
Mary.
right,
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, guys.
God.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
Yeah, one of them, even at this.
Oh, yeah, somebody left a purse there.
Which one?
I'm not sure.
That one.
That's the first I noticed it myself, so.
There might be ID in them.
Do you know my board members?
Yeah,
George Gallant and
I
Merle
see him
Pearson.
around. I know Merle. We see
Yeah.
people
Oh, yeah.
around. We don't know.
George?
We know George.
Once in a while.
I've seen Jack.
Everybody sees Jack.
Merle, nice to see you.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
okay.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
folks.
coming in
We
tonight.
certainly try to be helpful. I'm
Oh, absolutely.
sure this girl will be.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Myrtle.
Okay. Alright. That was a tough choice.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
We don't normally get, we're lucky if we get one.
Exactly,
Yeah,
Dave.
I know,
Good,
we've got
well
three
qual-
excellent candidates. Come on in, Bob.
Qualified candidates is.
Get safe, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, it is 7:45.
Please don't shut the door. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. 7:45. And again, we have another 5 minutes until we have a 7:50 appointment with Jean Petrillo. And she's gonna discuss water treatment plant contracts. So with that, we have 5 minutes. See if we can go into some general business here. Okay, request from the Chamber of Commerce to use, this is general business number 1, to use the town common gazebo for a band to play music during the farmers market on September 22nd, 2013 from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Chamber of Commerce is requesting to use the town common for the band to play music during the Sunday, again, September 22nd, farmers market. Last year, the Board of Selectmen granted the Chamber of Commerce permission to use the gazebo for the band to play music. The Agricultural Commission is holding their annual tractor contest during this time period. This event is part of the Essex National Heritage Commission Trails and Sales event weekend. So we have the application. Everything seems to be in order here.
Yep.
The application. With that, any discussion from the board? Do I have a motion
I'll
from the
make a
board?
motion.
One question, do we maybe
Yes.
want to, it says 12 p.m. in case the Agricultural Commission extends, do we want to just leave the closing time open? Without them having to come back with another request for music if they want.
Sure, we can do that.
That's just a suggestion.
We can leave it open, yeah. Okay.
I have a sneaky feeling that the band will not quite play that
No, probably.
Okay.
We'll give them the option.
That happens occasionally, doesn't
night.
it?
From 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon?
Yes.
Possibly
Yeah,
not.
no,
Oh, you're right there, that's true.
yeah.
Do
I'll
I
make
have
that
a,
motion
I
that
have a
we
motion?
grant the chamber the use of the common gazebo.
I have a motion?
I'll
And
second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oops, sorry.
That should be a fun Sunday.
Yeah.
Another- Okay. Another 2 minutes before our appointment. Okay, after, this is from Sue Bailey, our town accountant. Board of Selectmen, this is to the Board of Selectmen, after reviewing the applicant for the position of Assistant Town Accountant, I request that the Board of Selectmen appoint Miss Maria Marquis to this position. Any discussion from the board?
Make that motion. David?
I have a motion.
I'll second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, just a few minutes. Okay, this is general business number 3, Northeast Massachusetts Mosquito Control Aerial Application Notice. Northeast Massachusetts Mosquito Control and Wetlands Management District anticipates it may be necessary to conduct a helicopter application of biological larvicide, BTI, to control mosquito larvae over coastal salt marshes in Salisbury, Newburyport, Newbury, Ipswich, Raleigh, during the daylight hours between August the 22nd, 2013 and August the 30th, 2013. The material to be applied is BTI. It is a natural bacterium found in soil and water. BTI is very selective larvicide, which is non-toxic to people as well as fish, birds, bees, and virtually all insect species. BTI only affects mosquito larvae and a few closely related aqua insects in the fly family. The BTI will be applied by helicopter flying low directly over the salt marsh. The product name BTI is Vectobac 12AS EPA regulation number 73049-38. Residents need not take any special precautions due to the safety of BTI, and because the application will occur directly over the salt marsh in not residential areas. For further information, contact Jack A. Card Jr., Director of Northeast Massachusetts Mosquito Control and Wetlands Management District at 978-463-6630. That takes care of general business number 3. And with that, it is now 7:50. Jean Petrillo, please come forward. Husband Bob. Let me get my proper folder here, Jean. Okay. Jean Petrillo, she's here to discuss a water treatment plant contract issue. Jean Petrillo spoke to myself and Debbie regarding the notice she received from a law firm representing a vendor to general contractor Kinsman, who is building the new water treatment plant. Jean is asked to speak to the selectmen tonight about this matter. So with that, Jean, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Jean Petrillo and my husband Bob, 916 Haverhill Street, for the record. And first of all, we want to thank you for taking the time to listen to us tonight. I think I'm going to tell you chronologically to us what occurred, and I'll try to make it as brief as possible. Last August 15th, my husband went to the mailbox and we got a certified letter from an attorney in Springfield, Buckley Richardson Law Firm, and it said that there had been a lien placed on the deed of our property in the Registry of Deeds in South Essex. Stunned. And it had been on our property since August the 2nd, so already we were into 13 days and we had no clue this occurred. They said that there had been an outstanding bill of $14,000+. Apparently $7,000 had been paid, but there was still close to $7,000 outstanding, and so this lien was on our deed for that amount of money, and it was for rental equipment and pay and materials for United Parcel and a subcontractor, I believe Margin or Luxor. So it was, apparently, from what I can think, it was a subcontractor of a subcontractor.
Just to, Gene, excuse me, just to clear it up a little bit, I'll read. This is from Buckley and Richardson. It said, "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Petrillo, enclosed, please find copies of the following documents recorded with the South Essex County Registry of Deeds on August the 2nd, 2013, on behalf of United Rental Incorporated relative to property located at 916 Haverhill Street, Raleigh, Massachusetts. 1. Notice of contract, book number 32715, page 110. Number 2, statement of account, book number 32715, page 112. Sincerely, Jeffrey Poindexter." I believe he's the attorney. Okay.
And so we were absolutely stunned because we've rented no equipment. We don't owe anyone $7,000.
And we don't own the water treatment plant either.
But we were
If
trying.
anybody noticed.
We were trying to figure out why this would be happening to us. And I remembered in the back of my mind a couple of times during the summer, FedEx had delivered large boxes to our driveway and just left them, and the FedEx driver was going to the truck. So I ran out because I saw it, and I said, "This isn't mine." And he said, "Well, the address is 916 Haverhill Street." So I left it here. I said, "Well, it's probably the water department way down the back, down the dirt road." Never thinking anything of it until we got the letter. So apparently our address has been used for a while.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. So I immediately called this lawyer, and the woman I spoke to, an assistant, said that, yes, our name was on it, and that there were a lot of contracts or papers with our name and address on it. So I said, "Well, I'm going to have to get back to you, but it isn't us. I'm sure it's for the water department." Then I called Debbie, but she was at a meeting. And then I called you, but unfortunately you weren't home at that moment. So my husband said, "Take the papers and we'll go down." And we saw Mr. Peterson and Debbie. And Debbie asked to, and of course we were agitated. Debbie asked Doreen to call the water department and for them to get the contract out because she was sending the Petrillos down to discuss the problem. So we left and we went to the water department, and I think they were in as much state of shock. Mr. Reza was in, he said he felt blindsided, which we were more than blindsided. But, and then Laura tried to find out what was happening. I think she came up to town hall and then came back. She contacted the law firm and got copies of those papers with billing, like 900, 700. There were like 7 or 8 of them, which she gave to me. But then she said the law firm said that they would take the lien off the property on Monday. This was Thursday at 5 o'clock. I was ripping. You know, if we had been in the process of selling our home, what would have happened with a lien on the deed? If we had decided to take out an equity loan to help our granddaughter with college money or something, or we're not young, we could have croaked, or we could have been in a car accident and been hurt, and then my son would be stuck with this mess. It was really bad. So we got home at 5, and I called our lawyer, who wasn't there. I called Buckley and Richardson, and they were gone. And then I got a message that you called me, and I called you back, and you were very helpful and consoling, and said that you would help me however you could, just contact you, let you know how things were going. So I, while we were at the water department, Mr. Dalzell came in, and you know, he was upset. And then Weston and Sampson came in, and they didn't know what was going on either. So Friday morning, first thing, after not sleeping all night, I called our lawyer who was going to look up a few things for me and get back to me. And then I called Buckley and Richardson, and I demanded that they dissolve the lien on the deed, and I wanted it done and paperwork in my hand by 5 o'clock Friday. I think I'm the toughest I've ever been on anything, but I wasn't going to allow it to go for a weekend. He said, oh, well, we're in Springfield. I said, I don't care. You put it on very easily, get it off now. So what he did was he had someone go to the registry and do the dissolution. And then he faxed copies to Laura at the water department, and she brought me the copy of the dissolution and a letter from Weston and Sampson that they were going to take our name off the bills and things. But our problem is, not only was that totally unnerving for us, we have no trust in anything, and we don't know financially down the road. Nothing disappears anymore. Will somehow in the future, if we go to sell our property or take out a loan on our property, will that be affected? We're just sad, and we don't understand how a lawyer's office and a contractor for this amount of money could be so totally irresponsible as to put our name on the and go and put a lien on our property. So I think what we're asking the selectmen to do is to help us work. We're going to be going to a water department meeting next Tuesday night, I believe. And I think Mr. Dalzell had asked that Kinsman send a letter of apology to us, which is all fine and good, but I would like some kind of documentation that says how this occurred, so I can have it in our personal files if something should happen in the future and we need to show people that
It wasn't us.
it wasn't us. I mean, I think we pay our taxes, we pay our water bill, we don't try not to bother anybody, and it's just so unsettling. I don't think people understand how really bad it is unless it happens to them. People say, oh, just take your address off. But it's not just the address, it's our whole financial life.
No, when I spoke to you on that Thursday afternoon, Jane, I mean, you were distraught. And I can understand, because you're trying to figure out, why do I have a lien on my property, and why is, this billing and everything else is coming to, on my property. I pay my bills, and you were near the water department, and then their name shows up, their contractors. Yes, I can understand why you'd be so upset about this whole thing.
Could I ask just to, I can't believe this. It's unbelievable. It's that somebody would do this and get away with it. Is beyond me. But your property is in front of or on the side of the?
Right on the corner of Pingree Farm Road and Haverhill Street.
We're about 1,700 feet from the property that they're talking about.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay.
down and
So
back.
you're the front property
We
that
own the first 500 feet. Then there's about 1,500 feet
The Pingree Farm.
along Pindridge Farm.
Right.
But
States.
part of that, it belongs to, what's the name of the,
The condominium
yeah,
association.
condominium association.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're between us and whatever this is.
So you were just convenient in the front.
Yeah.
That they put your name on.
The
That's unbelievable.
The access road to the treatment plant, the new treatment plant, is right parallels your property.
Yeah.
So
Unbelievable.
God
Wow.
knows, I mean, we've had construction trucks, we've had cement trucks, we've had, they bring in I-beams and trusses and, for we have never really had a problem with any of those people. They've been very considerate during this whole construction time. And so you would think that this would be the thing, you know, you'd think it'd be the cement truck or something, but it's not. They've been very careful, and it's this that really just killed us.
I find it hard to believe, that they used your address, and, they didn't get at some time, this property is gonna require a 911 address. So I don't understand why the property didn't get an address right from the
It
get-go.
I think it has an address, but nobody uses
It
it.
does have an address, it has,
Water treatment plant.
Yeah.
how this,
The conservation
I think it's
agent right here is
62
frequented
is
it a number of
64
times.
Pingree Farm Road.
Yeah.
64 Pingree Farm Road.
So the general contractor, Kinsman, has a contract, under the state bidding laws. He has subcontractors, and
Mhm.
he's obviously in some dispute with one of the vendors. And so the contract between Kinsman and this company, United Rental, should have a proper address and delivery information and all kinds of things on there, because those deliveries have to be signed off,
Right.
inspected, and accepted upon delivery. So I find this to be astonishing.
That somebody
So
didn't
it
recognize
goes back to
the
the
address and
general
then
contract.
say something. Yes.
It also goes back to the water department. I mean, they're supposed to be in charge of this crap.
You know, somebody, it has,
Chairman,
Dave?
You said you have a lawyer?
yes.
I would recommend, if I was in your position, I would have your lawyer check your deed
He did
to
already.
make
We've
sure
already
that it's
done that.
off there. Number two is, I would check with the credit rating agencies to make sure that
Yes.
because you were listed in default,
Yeah, we're
that
already.
is not on your credit reports, and if it is, you need to have that removed, and that's just a
Can I-
sidebar to this, and I would recommend that, I've talked to your lawyer regarding compensation for the expenses and stuff like that you're going through for this whole process, as well as the mental anguish at this point that you're obviously been through in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Because the Buckley and Richardson lawyer, Mr. Poindexter, did call me at 1 o'clock and say that the dissolution had occurred. But our lawyer said he would double check Monday morning, so at 9 o'clock he called me and he said it was off. But now, though, do I have to check our deed every day? I mean.
No, I
No,
would just
no.
check, as long as it's clear at this point, you're fine, but I would check your credit reports to make sure.
But the problem is, excuse me, they put it on without our knowledge in the
Right.
first place, and it was all those days. It turned out to be 14 days, and 13 was without our knowledge.
Did you get the documentation by that Friday that it had been dissolved from?
Because they
Okay.
faxed it to Laura at the water department, and she brought it to me.
Gene, I further recommend that you have your lawyer send them a bill for his work, making sure that this is taken care of. And as Dave recommended, make sure that you check the credit ratings, because it may show up there as a lien.
Right,
Yes.
But I would make sure that they pay for it,
yes. But it's
absolutely.
really hard for us, because here we are, we're the victims, and now we have to do all this work.
No, I understand,
Yeah.
and
And it's.
make sure that they pay for all this work. You hire
That's right.
somebody to do it for you, and they're gonna pay. I don't know what our comeback would be to them, but for me, personally, I wouldn't sign their bills until they make sure that this is straightened out.
It's just,
It's unbelievable.
it is, and the other reason I brought it to the selectmen, because I want the public to be aware that things like this can happen to them, and you go along
Sure.
your merry way, and you're not knowing what's happening. But, would it be possible for the water department to find out from Kinsman how they
They
did
should be
that?
accountable
I mean,
for it.
You're going to attend the meeting next Tuesday night, correct? I would ask for a whole chronological event of how this all happened, how this transpired, and, and how you got dragged into this, and why your address was, how it appeared on their documents.
Because they were already using it, if they were using it for deliveries.
And I would also inquire,
Yeah,
how many other
FedEx deliveries, you
does
shouldn't be
anybody else have your address,
Well,
that it's a contractor.
apparently Weston and Sampson sent out a letter to all of the
They have.
contractors, but why didn't someone notice it when they were bringing the FedEx packages that said 916 Haverhill Street?
Exactly.
And-
You would have thought one of the contractors signing off and looked and said 916 would have got it corrected to Pingree Farm Road.
Well, apparently no one signed off on anything that I can see. There was no I don't know how you can deliver something and not get a signature. It's kind of.
Everything I ever received from FedEx and UPS, I've always had a sign for them, especially construction items.
And items of this value. I mean,
Yes.
we ran into a bill of 14 grand. It's unbelievable.
So, but I want to know, how did the first $7,000 get paid?
We don't know. This is all, these questions need to deal with the water board, because all we're doing is we're listening to you and kind of giving you some direction, but the actual events and how this stuff got done, it's all related to the water board and their contract with Kinsman, so they're the ones that really need to answer all these particular questions.
But I find that I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, that's why you need your lawyer to, if you have to, bring your lawyer and bill them. I mean, this is your reputation. This is like identity. You hear all the time about identity theft, and people don't know that their identity has been stolen until a year later, when all of a sudden they find out that they're in default and they owe thousands of dollars. So it's a tough position to be in, and we all sympathize with you. But you're the only one at this point that can deal with this directly, and you need to. If I were you, I would have your lawyer contact the water board and make sure your rights and everything is protected, because like you said, once this stuff happens, it can be a tough job to get it straightened out, and you don't want to be facing this again. And you want it on the record, and if you feel that you incurred costs and stuff like that, then the water department or whoever should be responsible for that. And I would say at the least that the law firm is certainly open for some kind of action based on, I mean, you never even got a call prior to, normally you'd think that somebody would call you and say, hey, you haven't paid the bill, before they come and put a lien on your property. So, I mean, but this is all stuff that you really, at this point, we can sympathize with you and listen to you, but it's a matter of the water board and their contractors and their lawyers need to deal with this to make sure that you're protected. And I would contact your lawyer and make sure that he's acting in your behalf.
He is, but you can't understand what our life has been like.
I know.
It's totally upside down.
That's why I say you may be able to get some other damages, but I mean, you really need to go through, at this point, go through the water board to get hopefully some satisfaction.
Gina, I will say that this board sympathizes with your plight, what you're going through right now. And anything we can do to help you out, we'll try that we can do, okay? But you'll have to attend that meeting next Tuesday night, and again, to protect yourself, I would have my lawyer. Okay? Bob, again.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for coming in. Good luck.
Bob, Jean, thank you again.
We hope things get back to normal.
Hope so too.
Best of luck.
Wow.
Counts, isn't it?
You know,
There's the outfit they gotta go after.
Yeah.
I mean, I spoke to her on the Thursday afternoon, and the poor thing she was so upset.
Oh. Should have been in the office here.
Oh, I imagine, Dave, you talked to her.
But anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Okay, we're a little bit behind here. Okay, and it is 8 o'clock. We have an appointment with Brent Bazelak. Brent, come on forward. Or do you want to stay where you are?
You have an unobstructed view.
Okay, all right.
I defer to the board. If you wish me to jump, I will.
Okay, Brent Bazelak, Conservation Agent, will go over the key points in the newly issued Federal Emergency Planning Agency floodplain map. The backup information from FEMA is attached. In anticipation of tonight's discussion with the Conservation Agent Brent Bazelak on the updated FEMA insurance flood maps, Amy Lyden and Brent set up new pages on the town website with pertinent information and links to the new maps. They pulled this together over the past 2 weeks and did a great job on it. For more information on the insurance floodplain maps, go to www.townofraleigh, that's all one word, .net, and click on the green box on the left, coastal flood information. You will be linked to 2 pages with all the information on the changes. If you receive questions from the townspeople on the new maps, you can direct them to these pages on the website or to Raleigh Conservation Agent Brent Baselick. Brent can be contacted. His telephone number is 978-948-2330. Okay, with that, Brent, turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Previously, I provided the Board of Selectmen with a memo dated July 17th, 2013. And if I may, I'm just going to kind of summarize from that. The town has some experience with FEMA updating the flood rate maps that are utilized for the National Flood Insurance Program. It seems like we just went through this process in 2012, which culminated in both a warrant article at town meeting that year that revised our floodplain district bylaw referencing new maps, which became effective on July 3rd, 2012. That study did not focus in on coastal areas of Essex County. And since that time, as we've been aware in the news, there's been numerous severe weather events that have struck across the country, as well as Hurricane Sandy, which visited extremely close to New England and decimated parts of New Jersey and the New York coastline. And so, because of FEMA's awareness from the updating in 2012, they realized that the coastal area of Massachusetts had not been specifically examined, and that both history, current weather events, as well as new standards that FEMA adopted had not been applied to the coastline of Massachusetts. And as we know in our area, Plum Island and the Newburyport area saw significant damage through various winter and northeasters that resulted in the loss of people's dwellings and occupied structures. And so FEMA undertook a revision of looking at the coastal areas specifically, and part of that revision process resulted in them doing a process which I cannot explain what an acronym stands for, LIDAR, but I believe it's some type of aerial radar interpretive survey that looked at the topography, the actual elevation and contours of the shoreline directly. And from that revised information and applying that to their new standards for looking at the history of coastal storm events and applying that with standards that they had started to develop nationwide, it led to the recent preliminary maps being issued for Essex County, focusing on the coastal areas. And in the municipality of Raleigh, some of these updates, and I'm going to stress here that since we have had no severe storms, thank goodness, impacting our coastline directly, there is not empirical data being put into play here. But this is the outgrowth of their statistical studies looking at coastal severe weather events nationwide and applying them to their current standards and how they address risk to human habitation, human structures, human infrastructure sited along the coastline, and then with the updated information of the topography, getting an understanding as to if there is increased coastal wave action, where that would play out, how the contours of the land would channel that or direct that, and then potentially what the high risk areas would be if people have dwellings or occupied structures in those areas. In Raleigh, this has resulted in the coastal flood zone with velocity hazard, which is wave action, went from an elevation of 13 to an elevation of 19. From Plum Island Sound to the Raleigh River, the base flood elevation has gone from elevation 8 to elevation 13. And these changes in the base flood elevation are the result of incorporating what's called wave setup. And this is a look at storm event, storm frequency, and what the wind-driven combined with tidal action, what it actually results in the rise of the waves, and therefore how much further up on the land the wave action occurs. And since I'm not an engineer, that's about as technical as I can get. But the long and the short of it is that the mapping and the extent of areas of our coastline that are subject to flooding has increased. And those areas of increase obviously are within Plum Island Sound and within the Great Marsh area, Stackyard Road, Patmos Road, end of Railroad Avenue, Oyster Point Road, end of Warehouse Lane. I mean, basically all the areas of Raleigh that are any proximity to coastal marsh, coastal rivers, salt marsh, those areas are now put at a risk of coastal flooding being at an elevated rate from where it had been in the past. And so the preliminary maps are available and, as we mentioned, have been made accessible on the website. This may result in that different property owners may need to seek professional services because these floodplain areas are prescribed at elevations, and in many cases the only way to find out what the elevation is of points of your property are possibly to hire either the services of a surveyor or a professional engineer. But the maps give you an idea and provide you with some information that would allow you to make a decision as to whether you might possibly need to seek professional help to advise you further if it appears that you may have habitable structures that are now within the extent of what's perceived as being a flood hazard area.
I did, just as a point of comment, I looked tonight before I came to the meeting, I looked at the website, and you guys did, Amy, you and Brent, you did a great job. I just randomly picked out a map and some information, and it came up, and so it's readily available and seems to work fine, so you did a good job. Thank you for that.
I believe as recent, this has started a process, and there is an effort right now to arrange for a public meeting that would be attended by FEMA personnel. Because of the sequester or whatever, they're only allowed to make one trip to basically the coastal Essex County here. So there's an email has gone out to numerous communities along the coastline here to see if a consensus can be developed about both a venue as well as a date. So that's in the works right now.
Sometime in the future.
Yeah, but the near future. This process, they advertised in the Newburyport Daily News, and let's see, look at my fingertips here. Well, I believe it was as recent, I think, as the first week of August, and that initiated a 90-day period where one can examine the mapping, and if one finds technical or engineering details that would support a change. But the important thing is that it kind of gives advance notice before the process of actually adopting and these maps becoming final or effective is the term. So there is this process, which I believe it goes until November 7th, 2013. So far, I have not seen anything but the utilization of some street names on driveways that aren't streets. Apparently historical names that they didn't have any way of checking out whether they were actually accepted public ways or not.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Just one quick one. Is there a way on the website, maybe on the front page, the home page, that we could put like a banner to catch people's attention that might be affected by the flood? In other words, just because right now you go, when you look through the menu and it mentions coastal floodplains where there's a date certain coming up, maybe we could do something to put some kind of a banner or something to, so the people don't, at least we gave them the information or emphasize the information that by a certain date, if you're in the floodplain or you think you are, this is, refer to the maps or whatever, so that it's readily available.
Maybe for the next couple of meetings, maybe make an announcement at the end of the announcements that there could be.
We also, Amy had sent Jan Morrissey, the head of the cable
Okay.
Good.
channel here,
Good idea.
to run something on the cable channel, directing the townspeople to the website, in the hopes that they will, use this time to peruse through the maps to see if there's any red flags. We've also, Brent is our local liaison, so anybody can reach him here. Also, Colleen Bailey from the Department of Conservation and Recreation is the mapping coordinator for the state, so she's generously allowed her name to be put on our website with her contact information too. So hopefully people will take advantage of that. And then when this meeting comes up, we really don't have a facility in Raleigh that would be large enough to host the meeting. I mean, this would be for any affected resident and property owner from Salisbury to Rockport, I believe, Brent, or even.
I think actually I believe the study was the entire Essex County, but I think initially they were talking about possibly the North Shore area, or I think it was mentioned Marblehead, all the way up to Salisbury.
Oh, wow.
So they're looking for a large facility. They'd have the FEMA officials there, and it would be an opportunity for people to ask questions in this setting. So as soon as we get that information.
I think it's important if people miss that deadline, sorry, but that's the deadline, right? In other words, that's a drop dead date if you want to appeal or.
Well, yes, but
or check.
it should be stressed though that the type of appeal that FEMA is looking for on that is with their engineering and their scientific data for their construction of the map,
Right.
their methodology used in the topographic survey, and then their national standards being applied. So it isn't so much that, you've got this window for appealing it. It's really just the opportunity to be able to come and attend a presentation with the FEMA folks there, who then can respond and answer questions and guide one. And the intent of the maps is really to raise your awareness when you're living in a coastal area that can be subject to these severe weather events. It's an idea of educating you that here's a risk. There are building standards that have been adopted, and there are environmental regulations that have been adopted about the development or potential development in these areas, but we have a history of there being already some structures and dwellings that were there before some of these regulations and these building standards came into play. And so the idea is to kind of give people a heads up to our further understanding that there is a risk associated with being in some of these areas, and therefore for you to be able to engage in practices that may prepare you for this, allow you to possibly engage if you wish to seek the national flood insurance, because your structure may be flood prone through no fault of your own because it was just there historically. I mean, the idea is more to get information out to build preparedness and to allow a property owner to be informed as to what special types of risks may go along with the location where their property happens to lie.
Brent, I want to thank you again, and Amy, for your work on the maps and placing on the website. And we will keep the people informed on the website, and again, out there.
So stay tuned to cable TV for some updates, and we have them, I'm sure we'll get on.
All right.
Just a clarification, based on this information here, that it appears that it goes from Newburyport all to Gloucester and Cape Ann, all the way down to Saugus. So that's quite a number of communities.
They had two initial meetings to talk about the preliminary maps or whatever. One was held down I think in Saugus, and another one was held up here in Ipswich. So we're thinking that those two locations may be the venues for this next public meeting process that we're trying to get set up at this point in time.
Anything else? That's it. Brent, thank you so much for coming in tonight.
And thank you for the board's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And keep us updated on anything else. Okay. I apologize for getting behind here tonight. We had 8:15 appointment. It's now 8:30. And Essex County Greenbelt Association Director of Land and Conservation, David, okay. Santomena.
Yep.
Santomena. Come on up front, please. David. And Sue Moses. Hi, Sue. Come on up. And they're here to discuss the Girl Scout camp property. And with that,
Thank you very much. I also want to introduce a couple of representatives of the Girl Scouts who were able to join us this evening. Joanne Johnson, who is actually a Newbury resident and a board member of the Girl Scouts of Eastern Massachusetts, and Barbara Fortier, who is their chief operating officer as well. So
okay, Barbara and Joanne, I'm sorry. We have the air conditioner here tonight, and plus our sound is not so good tonight. We have some technical difficulties with the camera, so just remind you, speak up, okay?
I'll do my best.
Thank you, Dave.
I did bring some maps just as a point of reference for the board. I made, I think, 10 copies altogether. Maybe if you would be so kind as to hand those around, that would be great. Brett, maybe you might want to. So, my name is David Santomena. I'm the Director of Land Conservation for Essex County Greenbelt. I'd like to thank the board and Debbie for arranging for us to have some time with you this evening. The topic is indeed the Girl Scouts parcel on Weathersfield Street in Rowley. Used to be referred to as the Spar and Spindle property, I guess. A lot of people might know it as that. Just very briefly, I did want to start by thanking and acknowledging the Girl Scouts for having reached out to Greenbelt to provide them hopefully with some assistance or to act as a resource as they evaluate disposition or sale options for both this property in Raleigh, but also one in Beverly, which they have also decided is no longer core to their ongoing programming, and they're moving ahead with the disposition of that as well. And we really appreciate the Girl Scouts' willingness to bring Greenbelt into this process and hopefully provide them with some assistance in looking at conservation options or outcomes for these properties. So the map that I prepared this evening simply shows the outline of the property in yellow. According to our sort of internal electronic mapping, it shows up as 187 acres. That may not be the exact same acreage as is shown in the assessor's maps. I don't think the property has ever been surveyed, so it's in the vicinity of 187 acres of land. It does have frontage on Weathersfield Street. That's really the only frontage it has on a public or accepted way. There are a number of structures on the property, mostly on the northern, exclusively on the northern end of the property. Mm-hmm. There's a residence, a year-round residence, and then a number of lodges and other support structures, in a pool, which have been used as part of the summer camp programming on the property. So from a sort of regional locational standpoint, really what this is we see it as a link between a significant body of protected land to the south. It shows up here as the town's Ayers Park property and some water supply land. Immediately on the other side of Route 133 there is the Hunsley Hills property, which is a significant town acquisition of a number of years ago. As you go to the north, what you can see that the tip of there is actually a Greenbelt owned property. We call it the Great Swamp Brook property we acquired a number of years ago. And then there's significant properties as you go further downstream along the Mill River going out to the Great Marsh. So we view this parcel as really a key part of that whole system of parcels and significant from that standpoint. The intention of coming before you tonight is simply to make you aware. It's been in the paper, obviously, but to formally make you aware that the Girl Scouts had kicked off this process. They're actively looking for feedback, in a sense, for where Greenbelt and by extension the community and other potential conservation partners might be coming from in terms of their level of interest. Happy to take questions, but I think a great next step might be to schedule a site walk so that members of the board, Conservation Commission, and others could have a chance to walk the property. Many folks probably know portions of it, but few have probably seen most of it, and it's certainly worth taking a walk on.
I think I've only seen the front gate and that's it.
Right. Well, you paid attention to the signs then that say, no trespassing.
I know where it is.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of folks, again, that's their understanding the property is from the frontage. It's really only when you look back at this perspective you realize what a significant connecting parcel it is. So we do view this as a very significant opportunity for the town. One that Greenbelt would be very pleased to work with the town on. We've got a long relationship of working with the town on different things, including recently the Audubon, together with Audubon, the Rough Meadows Sanctuary project, and we'd like to continue that working relationship.
We have not heard, this is the official, we've heard about it, okay? So, would the Girl Scouts like to say anything about?
From some background, this wasn't an overnight decision. A long-range property planning task force made up of staff, external experts in the area of landscape architecture, real estate, legal, working for almost 2 years to look at our portfolio. We have 27 properties in total. 3 are in New Hampshire and the remainder are in Massachusetts. These 2 properties in particular, no matter what slice of information we looked at, always ranked the lowest. And it would be exorbitantly expensive for us to transform the center, which is the official camp name of the Raleigh property, into something that would meet our current safety standards. And our usage there dropped off to a point where we have had it sleeping or not in use for 3 years.
For 3 years, okay.
It is our desire to move forward and hopefully find an opportunity for conservation, because that would presumably allow the Girl Scouts in this area who've enjoyed the use of that property to perhaps continue to use it in a passive way. So that would be our preference. We have everything else on hold with respect to, everyone on the planet who is a developer or a real estate agent calling to inquire about the properties, but this would really work out well, and it would be quite synergistic with how we would want to move forward if the opportunity presented itself.
Sue, do you have?
Let me just first say I'm here as a board member of Greenbelt, since I don't have any official position in the town now. Bob Carpenter is here from the Open Space Committee. I don't know if you folks know Bob. I have a long history in open space here, so I will tell you that when I first got involved in the mid-90s, this parcel was one of the key properties on the Open Space Committee's list of properties, and I think it probably still is. Bob has a current open space map that shows how this links to other properties, maybe in a larger perspective than what this does. So I also think there's real opportunities for the town to look at potentially doing some mix of uses on the property, because it's very large and we may not be able to come up with the funds for doing it all in conservation. So I think there's an opportunity to look at other synergies with the police station or with Eris Park or the water department and how this property might be of use to the town.
Bob, do you have anything?
Well, pretty much what Sue said there. When you look at our open space plan over the last number of years, that property's sort of been key in the middle of a sort of a corridor of open space. Which sort of extends across the area, so I think it's been on everybody's radar for a good period of time. So I agree with Sue. I think we really need to look at what we can do. Obviously, it's going to be expensive. And how can we figure out how to, one sort of part of it, maybe other uses for the other part, whatever, within the town. I think we need to look at it, maybe through the CPC or whatever, and see what we can do there.
You say you had a map?
This is this is just the newer version of, it shows. Grab that in. Your map fits right in, what's this part?
Yep.
So it's that property right there.
This is the property here, and then all these colored properties here, the yellow and the greens are all open space, so you can see how it sort of fits in coming across. These are the properties that have been identified to sort of look at over the years to try to pick up, and that's obviously a big piece right there in the middle.
I think it is the largest piece in single ownership, single parcel in single ownership in the town.
In the town. It's huge, huge piece of property. You can see it just on that map.
We really just see this piece right here. You don't really realize how far back it goes.
Now, are there greenbelt properties you can point out that are adjacent to it?
Not that are directly adjacent.
Okay.
Most of them are further downstream, and I think this map may not show. I think this is the area that is our Great Swamp Brook property, so that actually already is protected. So if the data in this map.
That's the one off of Hillside, correct?
Right off of Hillside, right? Exactly. Goes all the way into the Newbury.
Yes.
Newbury town line.
That's the one you acquired about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, maybe.
No, it's longer ago than that.
Yeah,
actually,
longer
it
ago.
was. Time does go fast. Yeah, that was acquired actually from the East Boston Savings Bank.
Oh. Yes, there was, default on a property.
They had gone into foreclosure, the bank had taken title, we were able to acquire it from the bank, right, exactly. Great property, super resource, natural resource property, still figuring out how to really get public access to it because a lot of the frontage is wet and there are some challenges from that perspective. But longer term, we really want to try and figure out how to get the public onto that property.
This is Hunsley Hills, this is Eris Park. These are conservation properties. This is water department property for the protection of that wellhead.
Conservation Commission has custody and care of the Smith Lane property, which I believe
Excuse me, Brent, say that again?
Conservation Commission has care and custody of the Smith Lane property, where the small portion was carved out for the cellular communications facility.
Okay.
I believe that was donated by the Purley family, I think, the history of it, what little I know. So the town does have preserved open space town that is contiguous with the southern end of this parcel. Also, the Conservation Commission would recognize that this property would be a priority due to the environmentally sensitive resource areas that are on there. It contains a significant portion of the Batchelder Stream riparian corridor that makes its way roughly from crossing Route 1 in proximity to the Demoulas Market Basket retail complex, where it then proceeds to the westerly side of Route 1 and flows through a portion of the Conservation Commission's open space parcel and then heads on to the Girl Scouters Bar and Spindle property, as it's been called in the past there, as it makes its way down towards Weathersfield Street, where recently we replaced the collapsed culverts.
Yes.
Eventually dumps in the Mill River.
Yes.
as well as we are also in very informal preliminary discussions with another property owner who has some property on the eastern side, of Batchelder Brook.
Okay.
That may be a possible consideration for donation to the town in the future as preserved open space. So the riparian corridor is viewed as being very environmentally sensitive. It's good habitat. It also contains floodplain.
Again, what corridor?
It usually is considered prime for preservation.
Okay.
Due to the fact that it contains floodplain, is also regulated under the Rivers Protection Act section of the Wetlands Protection Act, which identifies a 200-foot regulated area on either side. It has significant wildlife habitat value, as well as also we probably would want to consult and see what the recent biomap 2, how that identifies that area. It probably identifies it also as a significant focus on preservation and non-development in order to maintain the characteristics of that.
There's also vernal pools on it.
Excuse me, Sue?
There are vernal pools on that property as well.
Okay.
And the commission has jurisdiction over vernal
I know.
pools as well, right?
I know.
Mr. Chairman, too, there might be some
Yes.
potential, the buildings used by the Girl Scouts for camping facilities in the house may be of interest to the town in terms of taking a look at them for use by the town as part of that, what you said is multi-use.
Right.
And as an access to that property for a variety of things, but it might be, I think it's well worth taking a look at. From a recreational point of view.
I mean, obviously Greenbelt's, organizational bent is towards the open space, but we would, happily try to figure out an outcome that, those buildings are both an opportunity and a challenge.
Yeah, I think it's a valuable parcel, and I think for
Yeah.
a lot of different uses, and I think, I think for us to seriously, as a group, take a look at it and make some determination, I think is well worth the time and effort.
The Girl Scouts Dave and I met with the Girl Scouts previously, and they're very interested in this. They've said, with working with the town, and understand it'll take us a little longer than, but we do have to start, if we are interested, then there needs to be a move to start planning, looking at it, and having discussions in a timely manner about what might happen.
Mr. Chairman, can I suggest that maybe we set up a walk sometime in the near future as a way we can all take a look at it, and then once we've kind of seen the property, then it's time that we can move forward in the process with people.
Again, all I know is the front gate, so it'd be great to walk the property and get to see what is back there. Any other questions from the board?
No, actually,
I'd be in favor of walking the property.
I'm fairly familiar with the property. Worked with it when they were actually building the Girl Scout camp itself. So I'm familiar with the front part, which is on Weathersfield Street, and also in my past life, I've done a lot of hunting out in the back parts of that land and along to the Dodges. So pretty familiar with the Bachelor Brook area and down into that section.
Just, how old are the buildings, the Girl Scout buildings?
50, 60?
Probably
Years
late
old?
60s, early 70s.
Yes.
My daughter went there, but that was a while back.
And then the Vicor building came in the early 80s. The Vicor building was a structure that was moved to the property.
Yes, and we also
in the
worked on
80s.
that.
So the Girl Scouts have owned the property for past 50 or 60 years?
They've owned it since about the mid-60s.
Mid-60s, okay. So I think, we need to set up a walk through the property and see what it looks like, so. Well, thank you for coming in tonight.
Actually, we have a little great rock out there too.
Mr. Chairman, we should suggest that I coordinate this through Mr. Santamena, and your
Yeah.
schedules, right? I presume we're gonna do this obviously in the daytime.
Oh,
So it would
yes,
need to be a
obviously.
day that you are all in town, and available. Would that be the best approach
The best-
before they leave? I wanna
That'd be
make
great.
sure.
We should do it, in the next 2 weeks. Get out there.
Sure,
Okay, so
that'd be
good.
great.
You have anything else, Dan?
Weather's improving for this kind of thing, so.
That's right, that's right. Anything else?
No,
Well, thank you for coming in tonight.
thank you.
Okay. And we have another appointment.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Be in touch.
Yeah.
We have another 8:30 appointment. We're about 18 minutes late. I apologize. Erica Keefe? Erica? And you're here to discuss the Girl Scout camp property also. So I don't know.
Thank you for
I'll
allowing me to
just
speak.
give you an introduction here, Erica, okay? Please accept this letter as a formal request to address the board, the selectmen of the town of Raleigh. We would like to initiate a conversation with the town regarding potential use of property that has recently become available. Our business proposition would allow for similar use of the property, allowing children with various medical conditions an opportunity to enjoy a camp experience. We request the opportunity to an open discussion on the property potential use and funding options. Thank you in advance for your time and consideration. Truly, Erica Keefe. Erica.
Hi, thank you. I'm Erica Keefe. I live in Amesbury. I've grown up in this area. My sister, Erin Terry, would also be involved. She was unable to make it tonight. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. She's a child and family therapist. And it's always kind of been our dream to run a camp for children with medical disabilities. And do, a camp with a more medical model where a population who would otherwise maybe not be able to have a camp experience would be able to do so. So we just wanted to kind of voice our interest, see if there would be any support for this kind of endeavor, or use of the kind of the front part of the property where the structures are there, to move forward in this direction, if there would be any multi-use for this property.
Any questions from the board?
I think it might be a good fit. You have to look at it, of course, and get kind of into it. But I think it might help with some of that diversity that we're discussing. A way to be able to afford to save the rest of it. Help with that part of the process anyway.
Okay. We can look into that too.
Okay.
That part of it. There was an email tonight. I believe it was on Doreen's email. Amy, did you see it from the YMCA? It came to me. Don't ask me how, but I was wondering. Do you have access to? But there was something, and the YMCA had from Ipswich had shown some interest too, and so I guess more the merrier. Maybe, I don't know. The property is what, 103 acres?
87.
187.
187. So quite a piece of property.
How many children do you would be involved in your project?
We're just in the very preliminary stages of coming up with our plan, but we are connected to the medical community and know that there's definitely a need for this kind of camp for children.
Thank you.
And what types of?
It could run the gamut from kids with, autism or spectrum disorders to children with obesity, struggling with weight issues, cystic fibrosis. Really, there's a huge need for this, and we're pretty connected to, Children's Hospital in Boston and some of the local pediatricians that work with these children with many disorders, and they can't, there's no place for them to access this sort of natural, typical camp experience.
Is this in your project? With the other Greenbelt and other YMCA and everything, would it be bigger to address everyone, or is this specifically you're looking to acquire the whole property?
We would be happy to do a multi-use. Obviously, this would be a huge endeavor to try to do the whole property. So.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Could we maybe ask Erica if she could put together a couple of page synopsis of what you're looking to do, so that as we begin to look at this property, it's one option. In fact, maybe it might be worthwhile to give the Girl Scouts a CC, or send it to the Girl Scouts and CC us, so that I think it sounds like we we're gonna have multiple options for the property, and to give everybody a fair hearing and a fair input, I would think that, you know, your situation sounds good, and if we can at least take a look at it in terms of, as we look at the overall property, that it would be valuable for all of us to have some kind of a, like I say, just a couple of pages, we're not looking for anything in depth, but enough to give everybody a pretty good idea of what you're looking at, and, you know, the size, and it might be worthwhile if we have a walkthrough that you walk through with us. You know, we'll notify you and let you be part of, you know, if you can, or your sister.
That would be great.
I think the more people that take a look at it at this point, we can get together and come up with a consensus, hopefully, might satisfy everybody. It may not, but at least we're looking at all the options.
Erica, how long would it take to put a business plan together for you?
We could probably do it, I mean, fairly quick if we
Okay.
needed to.
Okay.
We could
Yeah,
do
we're not
it.
looking for we're just looking what, you know, boy, it's probably at this point it's a concept thing, but at least, you know, because it's obviously looking at the buildings and the camp buildings there, I think that's probably what you're more interested in, because if the conservation land is available, we can all use that in terms of walking and hiking and things like that, so.
And we've put some preliminaries together, but certainly could pull it together in a more formal.
If you can get it to us sooner rather than later, if we have questions or the Girl Scouts have questions, they can certainly direct them back to you if it needs to be expounded upon, so.
Okay.
I'll read this in record also. This is from the
Thank you very
YMCA in Ipswich. So the Raleigh Board of Selectmen. While we're unable to be represented at tonight's Board of Selectmen meeting, I would like to express our interest in establishing a Y camp in the Raleigh area. Currently, the Ipswich Y operates successful summer camps in Essex, Ipswich, Hamilton, Myopia, and at the Ipswich Country Club, serving over 300 children each week. The track record for the North Shore Y, our parent organization, is quite impressive, with waterfront camps in Haverhill, Gloucester, Marblehead, and our Essex at Chabaco Lake. If there's any opportunity for further discussion in this, we're regarded very interested in participating. The Ipswich Y serves the Raleigh population as well as the Hamilton Essex. Please feel free to contact me. This is Jerry Beauchamp, Executive Director. I think many of you know Jerry. So he runs a pretty good operation down there. So I think it's their Board of Directors meeting tonight. I think that's the reason he could not be here, but he said that. So, anyways. Sounds like a lot of irons in the fire here, so looks good.
With any luck at all, we might be able to pull it off.
Yes?
Right.
Sounds very good.
Right.
Okay. Any other statements, questions from the audience? Thank you so much for everyone for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
We'll look forward, we'll get in touch with you for a walkthrough, okay?
Thank you.
And thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay. That was very interesting. Hey, Steve.
How you doing?
Okay.
Somebody left a notebook. Susan's.
Susan, did you leave it on?
State walked in the facility today.
I'm sorry?
State walked in the facility today, so I'm a few days behind on Main Street. Don't expect them to
Okay, I apologize for being a little bit behind tonight, but we've had a full schedule here. So it is about 4 minutes to 9, and I apologize again. It's not for 8:45 appointment. And Paul, you want to come down front? We have an 8:45 appointment again. I apologize for being late. Paul Boudreau and Steve Comley for an update on the proposed bicycle competition at Comley property. And we have these are new letters, correct?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so the selectmen have a package that consists of the letter from both Chief Barker and Broderick that was co-signed to Mr. Boudreau. Then there was an email response from Mr. Boudreau to the chiefs, outlining all the issues that were addressed in the letter. Chief Broderick also sent the selectmen a separate letter dated August 15th. Frank is here because he had a list of health department issues that Mr. Boudreau was working on that had been brought up in the past. There's a bike racing comes to Rowley packet and a couple of newspaper articles.
I guess, I've been reading in the newspaper, in the Gloucester newspaper, that, is the event, do you know where the event is gonna be held? I guess,
Well-
go right to the point.
I mean, the date is the 20th and 29th is our date. That's what we need. So, my hope was to be able to move the event to Raleigh. I've been working with Gloucester because I need to have an event, so I'm doing my due diligence there. I was working with Salem as well, but I've put that on hold. There are issues there.
That was Salem Willows?
Yeah, that's not gonna be able to happen in a timely manner, so I put that off. So I got the letter from Chief Broderick and which was co-signed by Chief Barker, and we had a site visit probably a week and a half ago, and I think we addressed a lot of the concerns that Chief Barker had with the site. So we went over the plan for parking, went over where the course would go, separation of the course from parking. So I think we got most, I'm not going to speak for the chief, but I think that we got most of his concerns out of the way. The issue right now, I know I owe the health inspector some stuff about vendors, but we don't have any vendors yet because we don't really have an event yet. The big issue right now is I've got numbers from from Chief Barker on how much a police detail would cost, and then I estimated because Chief Broderick's on vacation, so I estimated based on his past conversation with me and the going rate of what the details would cost. So I've got about $7,300 for police, $3,900 for having 2 ambulances on site. That was a quote I got from Beauport Ambulance, and they're all pretty comparable, and this was actually discounted for me. And then fire detail was just estimated at about $800 based on a couple of individuals, 8 hours a day for 2 days. That does not include a fire truck, which I have no idea how to budget for that. So that's a clean $12,000 for the event. To contrast that with Gloucester, I have $4,400 there that I need to pay for EMTs and police. There's no fire involved there. The EMTs are from the city, and it's only going to cost me $1,400. The police is another $3,000 expenditure. It's basically 2 officers to basically shut down the road, and then 1 for our beer tent. So right now, it's seeming not feasible because of that discrepancy. I'd have to get a lot of sponsorship money in a short time, and I don't think that's going to happen. So right now, as far as Raleigh is concerned, we're not looking good financially to have an event here. So.
Okay, so you're withdrawing from this venue?
I mean, do you want to say anything, Steve? Or?
I kind of wanted this to happen because of our financial concerns. But I also thought it was going to be a benefit to the town, and it doesn't seem that anybody's feeling the same way. The vendors are all for it. The police department is a little apprehensive for how this is going to go down, and probably rightfully so, because we haven't done it before. My main gripe, well, I guess my request would be to be treated like anybody else in a similar situation. And given these numbers, I don't feel like we have been. We're being required to take on a lot of municipalities, a security team that I do not think is necessary with union rates. Not to mention taking the resources away from the town and having that many police officers involved. The fire department, I don't think is necessary, but that's my opinion. I think it's excessive. And I think if we could negotiate something down in the half price range, we could probably make this happen. And I still think it's a little high.
Well, I have one question. Have you spoken to the people on Kittery?
I have.
You have? You talked to everybody on Kittery?
I've talked to probably about 80% of the people on Kittery Ave.
What was their...
They don't seem disturbed by it. I told them we were gonna, you know...
We would have to have a public hearing on that.
Well,
Okay?
all right.
How does that work as far as, is it 25% say no, 50% say no? Is that,
Well, we'd
is
have
it
a public
straight
hearing and
vote?
just open it up probably upstairs and
Yeah.
have, if whoever wanted to come,
Okay.
would come to the public hearing.
The part I don't get is, we don't have public hearings when there's block parties on the road, or the Todd Farm opens up.
Well, Steve, this is a large event. This would be a very, very big event
How
for the town.
large do you think the Todd Farm is? How many people do you think show up for the Todd Farm?
Well, but they've been licensed for years on that.
How's-
And I agree with Dave. Dave brought up before, is that in this type of event, to have some sort of statues or something set up, because this is something we've never really dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time we were looking at a destination event. We haven't had a lot of time to look at it, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think, one of my concerns, and I think probably the board's concerns, is we're running this event on a dead-end street with a nursing home at the top of the hill, which it has limited access and egress. You have a nursing home at the top of the hill, which I'm sure part of the fire chief and the police chief's concerns are if there's issues, not so much at your event, but we have to be cognizant of the nursing home situation up there in terms of the emergency develops.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a great. I'm sure the property itself, I'm sure, is ideal for what you want to do.
Yeah, just the
The
location.
location is causing us, or causing me anyway, some concerns. And like I say, it's a single road in and out, and it's difficult access. And you have the nursing home situation in there. And, it's just, I don't think anybody has any objection to the event itself. It's the logistics of making this happen.
Yeah.
We need to be in a position, and the chiefs need to be in a position, and we don't want to overkill it, but on the other hand, we haven't had a lot of time to prepare. They're gonna.
Yeah,
They
and
may be a little conservative in terms of what they're looking for protections and as a result of the cost. I
Right,
mean,
and I'm not second guessing them, and I'm not trying to project that they're, I'm just stating the fact that these are the costs. I'm not putting any kind of judgment there, so.
There might be a situation, myself, is if Gloucester wants this, maybe go to Gloucester and then give us a better time frame for next year, and, and try to come back next year. And I don't know. It's up to me to decide. But I think part of our feeling probably is all of a sudden you're in here with a large proposal for a large 2-day event.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of concerns. And, I'm not sure. I don't know about the rest of the board members. I haven't had a call from any residents up there. Actually, I haven't had anybody in town talk about it at all. I don't know if they're not watching the TV, or I'm not sure. I don't think there's been anything on the paper about it. But I mean, it's like this thing is happening without anyone knowing anything. And I think when the chairman mentions a public hearing, it's kind of like to give the public a chance to respond. And we realize that we're talking a month now. You need to make a decision.
Oh, yeah.
And if we have a public hearing, and it'll take a couple of weeks for us to schedule a hearing, and really is to give people input. I mean, on these things. I mean, if you went along with the chief's recommendations and stuff like that, that's fine. But meanwhile, you got to, your racers and your people need to know where they're going and what they're doing. And I assume from looking and reading the articles in the Gloucester Times, they're making it pretty quick, right? In terms of, I mean, the same thing. The time is running out here.
Yeah.
When is
difficult
Gloucester
to-
voting? Tomorrow night?
Mr. Chairman, one of the concerns that were brought up by the chiefs was that we would have to have no, street parking, so there would be a weekend parking ban that I think the board would need to address with the residents, so that was the key component of when we would schedule that. Because the residents would need to know if they were having some type of event at their house, a birthday
Yeah,
party, and they
right.
have some guests coming, not to mention the traffic on Kittery Ave, but, there would be no street parking, and maybe they don't have a driveway that could fit it, and that kind of thing. So I think with the board's perspective, they were just trying to address that issue in terms of no parking on the street would require a public hearing and notification to all the affected, homeowners.
It's, I think, it's basically the street, that's the concern, the access to it.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah. Okay.
and the concerns of the police chief and the fire chief, they're our safety experts.
Yep.
I really don't know what to say. I think it's a bit biased at best coming up, it just doesn't make any sense to me. You close the road down for block parties. You don't have a meeting, I'm not invited, I'm not even informed. But everybody's worried about nursing home. The only person needs to worry about the nursing home is me. I would do nothing to endanger my own business. I mean, I wouldn't just throw this out there and block everything down and endanger lives. And Mr. Peterson's not the first one that felt that way. That doesn't make any sense to me. And if there was a big worry about Seaview, the least they could do was plow the road or help move trees when they go down. Mansion Drive is not a dead end. Everybody keeps forgetting about Fenno Drive, which is on me. And it's always open, aside from a few neighbors not liking it that way. I'm doing everything I can to maintain those roads, make sure they're open. We're open 24 hours a day. When there's a snowstorm, there's sometimes 5 hours before I see a plow truck. I don't plow for the town anymore, but I still plow these roads to make sure that everybody's safe. And I do that for free. I get nothing for the taxes in this town except a permit to do business. I don't have kids in the school. I don't get trash picked up by the town. They don't take care of my sewage. You guys give me a permit to do business. I'm trying to do business. All right, the farm is on the edge this year because of the economy. I'm trying to come up with another strategy to keep it open. So we're allowed to keep all this open space undeveloped. And I'm being shot down again. It doesn't make any sense. I would accept if you guys were willing to work with me a little bit better. There's plenty of notice. We've been talking about this for what, 2 months now? 80% of the neighbors on Kittery Ave have known about it for at least a month. And nobody has said, no, I don't want that happening in my backyard. Have you received any calls?
No,
it's been on how many times?
Well, the only thing I can point to, Steve, is that we also did the same thing with the town common. We planned that 2 years ago. We went to town meeting, got permission to cut down the trees that were there and plant new trees. Nobody said a word until the event happened. The trees got cut down. The phones came off the wall.
I think he's talking about mine.
So, people are just kind of ambivalent when nothing happens, but as soon as the cars start streaming down Kittery Avenue, that's when we're gonna get the calls.
The last thing I want to do is tick off the people on Kittery Ave. I get along with most of them, all right? I'm going to have to answer for it. The thing is, I'm not asked when something goes on down Kittery Ave, and I probably wouldn't object. But they use the street to park. They close down the streets, and I don't get notified, but I don't complain.
Well, I don't recall them ever being closed, but I don't know of any block parties that we knew about, at least. And from the
It happens. And maybe they don't ask you for permission. My understanding is they did ask for
There
permission.
was one on Cross Street, I believe, but that was, That was several years ago that I remember.
Regardless, CB was never notified. And we need to know if the road's
Yes,
closed
sure,
for
we do.
ambulances and fire and everything. Nobody was worried about that, you know?
Chief, do you remember anything on Cross Street or Kittery, the street being closed down?
No.
Well, maybe it's better if I don't ask.
I don't know.
I'm trying to do the right thing here, because I do know that it's a large event, and I do know it's gonna inconvenience my neighbors. All right? I'm up for answering to my neighbors. I do it every day. But, you know, to watch what the Todd, I mean, it took me a half an hour to pull out of the Pancake House the other day, on a Sunday. It's the first time I ever complained about it, but it's been happening for years. It takes you, what, 10 minutes to get past the Todd Farm at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. That's a major highway. There's people running across there all day long. There's no police details down there. If they're down there, they're writing tickets. They're not going through the crowd and providing security. And there's 2,000 people, 1,800 to 2,000 people down there at any one time. The capacity is what, 1,800 cars. There's no mandate for them. And I know they've been there for 40 years, and there's been minimal incidents. But, you know, we're having a bike race. It's not a bunch of axe murderers and thieves. You know, it's people enjoying some recreation. And there's not a lot of trouble you can get on the property. There's no major highway running through the middle of it. You know, we got Kittery Ave. The only people that really use Kittery Ave, the neighbors, Seaview and Solstice. We're having it on a weekend. Okay, Solstice is pretty much closed down. I've got a skeleton staff at Seaview. We got 50 volunteers that are willing to help us out. I can hire 3 security companies to do what we're paying the Rowley Police Department to do, and we're stealing resources away from the town. It's unnecessary. I'd be willing to go with half the cost, and I'm probably speaking for you at this point, but I think half of what we figured on is reasonable. I don't think there's any reason to have the fire department up there. And I don't think we need as many police officers as it's been suggested. You know, we can run our own security.
Well, tomorrow night, how do you think the vote's gonna go?
Been reading the papers? It's hard to say, it really is. I 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah, I wouldn't hazard a guess.
So, yeah, the cost right now is...
So, you know, just, I know it's a little bit apples and oranges, and again, I understand, I'm not throwing the chief under the bus or anything like that. I totally understand his perspective and where he's coming from, and, you know, I respect it, I have no issues with it, but it's just the facts are that the costs for doing business in Raleigh, so $12,000 versus $4,400, and that's, you know, that's a big gap that I just can't fill. So.
Can I ask the chief how many officers we were proposing to be down there?
We got a hybrid plan. We're concerned about the traffic because we're talking about a lot of cars on a small street, and we've got a plan to have one detail officer handle the traffic all day, and in the beginning and the end, when most of the traffic will be coming, there'll be a second detail officer at that time. So one 8-hour shift and 2 4-hour shifts for traffic. And we've got other manpower to be at the event itself. And it's kind of a hybrid there too. We don't have 2 men all day, but we have 2 men during the busiest time. See, what's not clear here is Rowley has two police officers on duty. Gloucester has 6, 8. They have a lot more resources that can be diverted. If something happens here in Rowley, we need to rely on mutual aid or whatever, which is why we need to have a little bit more manpower available. Do I know what's going to happen? No, we've never had an event this large, and Todd Farm is not this large.
Well, just, you know, I'm just, you know, I know what Steve's going, he does a lot for the town, and I truly believe what he said tonight. He don't want to create a great big problem down there and that. And you just explained that you're going to have 2 detail officers. Why wouldn't it be feasible for Steve on his own? It'd be on his own property. I'm saying, starting to have
He's gonna have
security.
people on his own
That's what I
property
mean.
already. I'm concerned about
I know,
Kittery Ave,
yeah.
Main Street,
Right.
Cross Street. Those are the areas that are gonna back up.
And then you have to back up your normal force. Where Gloucester has 5, so like as you said, 5 or 6 officers.
Yeah, it's
And then they
60
take the
60-some
two
officers.
more detail officers and bring them out. That was what you said, Paul?
Pardon me?
2 detail officers out in front of.
Yeah, just
The
to
park.
block off the street, basically, that goes to the park, yeah.
So Gloucester's gonna hire 3 men. We're really looking at 4. We've added a body. It's
Right.
it's to handle the call volume that we could experience, so that we don't have to divert the regular patrols to another area. One of the problems with the detail estimate here is it's gonna take place on Sunday, and we have by contract that the officers get time and a half of detail right on Sunday, so it's another major increase. There's nothing I can do about that.
It's all contractual.
So the total cost was, correct me if I'm wrong, what was police?
Well, it was estimated, Captain Barker gave me a very thorough breakdown of what the cost would be, and then I called him afterwards and said, listen, if we had a beer tent, can you estimate how much that would be? And I think it was at 2112.
Yeah, I added
so.
2 more officers.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have a beer tent that serves 1,000 people, I'm not gonna do it without appropriate coverage. That's
Right.
Yeah, and you realize, though, you're gonna have beer on the property? A
they haven't
tent?
applied for a license.
You
yet.
gotta
Yeah.
apply for a license.
Understood, yeah,
You know that.
yep, understood.
I mean, you gotta have that, Steve. I mean,
Yeah.
My-
even our events, when they have
Very
stuff
good.
at the church, you get a 1-day or a 2-day, you still gotta go and
Yeah.
apply for,
Well, we're guessing, once we come to terms with the event here, then we can start applying for the permits and invite the vendors that are gonna be providing the beer and whatever.
Okay, so it was for the police, details was 2,100?
That was for the
That was
beer
additional.
tent, yeah.
That's additional.
Yeah, yeah, so the total, the 7,300 was roughly just, I think it was 5,100 and
Yeah,
change.
without the beer tent, it was about, I think I might have it here somewhere. It was 5,280 without the beer tent,
5,280,
for the
yeah.
2-day.
And Gloucester was what, 24?
Police is about $3,000 for everything, yeah. So, I mean, again, apples and oranges, I understand.
I don't think we have
just-
any problem with the traffic detail. The chief is correct in that, this could fall back on him. We understand that. No argument on the traffic details. The security detail for the grounds, I think it's excessive. I think it can be handled appropriately with our security team. The beer tent, that's another animal. That's, I would imagine it would be justified to have another officer or possibly 2 at that, if that makes the chief comfortable. But the security detail, I think, is excessive, especially having to pay overtime and union rates for something that we can handle ourselves.
That's contractual, so that would be.
Understood.
So, I think based on the information that's available, as a promoter, event promoter, I have to work with the community. I can't just say it's on private property, tough. I need to have buy-in from everybody. The fact that I haven't worked everything out with Chief Broderick yet because he's, we're a little late and he's on vacation now. It's looking less and less like this year is feasible for Raleigh.
Okay.
That's kind of my take on it. Just being realistic.
And I think we need to put something together too. This is the first time.
For the future, yeah.
For the future, to look at this. We've never been faced with anything like this before.
Yeah.
A piece of private property, so it's a little bit different than other events. So
Well, I think we need to, if we're gonna make an error here, we need to make that on the conservative side. And it seems to me that Amesbury, within the last year or two, has had a couple of these destination type events.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was a complete disaster.
Absolutely.
I mean, they even had traffic backed up on 495. And we just can't do that here. We don't have the resources for that.
You talk about Todd Farm Sunday, you're competing, if it's a good day, you're competing with Todd Farm. So that's not your fault, but that's just the nature of that road. You got one road.
Yeah.
It's a tight area. It's just, I don't know I'm not familiar with Gloucester, as far as the traffic in, the traffic out. And
so you've got multiple.
One street here.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of the event is wonderful. I don't know, that's not the issue, and I'm sure, like I say, on the property is probably a great spot to have this event.
Yeah.
We need more, if you get to Gloucester this year and you wanna come back next year, we can come in a little bit earlier and we can sit down and go through some of this stuff and,
Again, we're gonna look at it from our side too. Try to put some regulations together to address this. So it's again,
procedure in place.
we had an event like this. So.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you for your time. I know it didn't work out, but I appreciate indulging us.
Best of luck.
So thank you.
Steve, best of luck. Okay. Do you have anything else for the chief or anything for Brent or Frank? Is there anything else we have? I don't want to keep you here.
I have executive session.
Excuse me?
I'll be in an executive session.
He's here for the executive session.
Oh. You can't leave. All right, that takes care of our appointments.
Thank you, Brent.
Brent, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. If I can be of further service to the board, please call me.
Appreciate it.
Frank, thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay. All right. General business number 4, road opening permit request for National Grid, 17 Weathersfield Street. Has everybody read the?
I'll give you the motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everything seems to be in order. Okay. General business number 5, letter of resignation from Fred Gallagher. Dear gentlemen, I regret to inform you that my resignation as alternate wiring inspector. This resignation is effective immediately as I have taken a full-time position in the city of Gloucester, Mass, and will no longer be able to fulfill my duties. Fred Gallagher, alternate wiring inspector. Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll give you the motion and along with a letter of thanks for his service.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll send a letter out. Thank you, Fred, for your service to the town. Okay, general business number 6. Ratify lifting the hiring freeze for the position of alternate electrical wire inspector. Again, due to the time span between Fred Gallagher's resignation and the selectmen's meeting, the town administrators posted job vacancy notice on August the 14th, 2013. This position must be filled in order to provide coverage in absence of the electrical inspector. This position is considered a public safety position. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. General business number 7. Set the meeting schedule for September, October, November, and December. The following is suggested for September 9th. This is for Board of Selectmen meetings. September 9th, September 16th, September 23rd, September 30th, October 7th, October 21st, October 28th. Okay, November 4th, it'll be a brief meeting because that'll be a town meeting. November 18th, November 25th, December 2nd, December 9th, December 16th, December 23rd, and December 30th. The selectmen usually typically take the Monday between New Year's and Christmas off, the 30th. Do you wish to take it off, gentlemen?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have one yes.
I'm agreeable to whatever you decide.
Unless there's something pressing that you actually really need.
Unless we
heavily.
need to meet in midweek or something pops
Yeah,
up.
the only thing I could imagine is a late liquor license renewal issue,
Right.
but actually things,
We'll keep
going smoothly on all the renewals.
Leave it
this year.
tentative and then we can just
Tentative.
eliminate it.
Tentative,
It's gonna be a
yes.
tentative. But all the other dates look good, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we accept the September, October, November, December printout for the meetings.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on, road opening permit, National Grid 40 Warehouse Lane.
Mr. Chairman, for some reason that number rings a bell. I am going to recuse myself.
Ah.
Sounds, it rings a bell, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
I'll give you the motion. Oh, we probably should deny this one.
You probably should.
Oh.
I have a
I'll give you the
motion.
motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
Second. You really want to pass this? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Come on back, Bob.
I didn't want to implement you guys.
Okay.
Wants to pass it, or we'll have to give him a raise and pay for.
Yeah, I know.
You have to put me on welfare pay for you.
Just remember how good we are to you.
Yeah, the committee nobody wants, you got it.
Remember one thing, something my mother used to always say,
Thank you.
payback is sweet.
That is the way I heard it.
Okay.
Anyway,
General business number 9, Board of Library Trustees vacancy. The Board of Library Trustees Chair Janet Peabody has informed the Board of Selectmen that a vacancy exists in the Board of Library Trustees. In accordance with Massachusetts law, Chapter 41, Section 11, the law outlines the procedures for filling the vacancy in town offices. The Board of Selectmen needs to announce the vacancy and post it at Town Hall. Debbie has drafted the posting
I'll give you
posting
the
for the
motion.
board.
Second.
We need to
I'll
read that in or
recuse
anything?
myself.
No, so,
We have to have a joint meeting, don't we?
we do need a joint meeting, and so I just wanna be sure on these dates. I have not run them by Janet Peabody, but, this was a unique situation where the individual was elected, but was not sworn in. So, the date of the vacancy should be the date that she notified the town clerk that it was not her intent to be sworn in. So, having said that, we'll operate under the statute where
Okay.
the provision that it would be a joint meeting.
Takes 30 days.
30 days?
Within the 30 days.
Within 30
The
days.
board needs to notify the selectmen. So if you're, you think there's enough time, then, if we ask for letters to be submitted by, Wednesday, September 11th, That way we can get them to the library board and to the
Sure.
selectmen, schedule the meeting, the
That should
joint
be
meeting
plenty of-
agenda will be, could have, a couple of people, as like we did tonight.
Sure.
And then the joint meeting would be on September 16th.
I'll give you that motion.
I have that motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all those in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Can I ask a question? On previous, when we appointed the COA person, did we put a expiration date on that? or what was-
So by default, it would be the 3-year term under the COA bylaw, that Mr. Hogobian was not reappointed to another 3-year term.
Oh, okay, that was an open position, he wasn't reappointed.
He was not reappointed, he didn't resign.
It wasn't a resignation, it was.
Oh, okay, oh,
He did not seek reappointment for another 3-year
Oh, all right, okay,
term.
that's fine then,
So by
thank you.
default, your vote was implied to be, that's what I
oh,
would
thank
think.
you, I didn't realize that.
Okay. Okay, moving on to old business number 1. Attached is a memo from Town Council Judy Pickett on the process to make the highway surveyor appointed. If the board chooses to follow this process, I recommend that you place an article on the November 4th, 2013 fall town meeting. I'll read this into the record. You asked whether the position of elected highway surveyor could be changed to an appointed position. Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Section 1B allows any office or board except the Board of Selectmen or School Committee that is elected pursuant with Chapter 41, Section 1 to become an appointed position or board by a majority vote of the annual or special town meeting. The office of highway surveyor is such an elected position. However, any vote by a special town meeting taken under the provisions of this section shall take place at least 60 days prior to the acceptance of the voters at the annual town meeting. If this is to be voted on special town meeting, the warrant article should read as follows. To see if the town will vote to change the elected position of the highway surveyor to an appointed position pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Section 1B, and to schedule a ballot vote on the matter at the next annual town election. The ballot vote at the annual town election shall read as follows. Shall the town vote to have its elected highway surveyor become an appointed highway surveyor of the town? Yes, no. Section 1B states that any individual elected to an office or board which becomes an appointed office or board at the time of election shall, the same election, under the provisions of this section, shall hold said office and perform the duties therefore under the appointment to said office is otherwise made under the provisions of this section. The appointment is made by the Board of Selectmen for a term of not to exceed 3 years. You don't need to vote on this, or?
Yes, the board does need to vote on this, so I'm looking for direction. As requested, I followed through with the process that would convert that position, and in order to comply with the 60-day provision in the statute, I would recommend that the article be on the November 4th town meeting.
And Judy also said that we should follow the same process in making a highway surveyor's position appointed for making the tree warden position appointed also. So, do I have a?
I'll make a motion that we put, change the highway surveyor position to an appointed position.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
It, we put on the November 4th.
To place an
November 4th.
article on the warrant in
Right.
I
accordance
got a
with
question, Mr. Chair.
Excuse me?
I got a question.
Sure.
I'm a little confused about the last paragraph there. If we hold the election on the annual town election,
Right.
and if, obviously, someone has to run for highway surveyor.
Not necessarily.
Well, if it doesn't pass, then we don't have a highway surveyor. I mean, in other words, you know what I'm saying?
No, actually, if no one pulls out nomination papers and the ballot question passes, then the position now is officially appointed. If somebody does run and they get elected, that person will hold that for the 3-year term.
That's what I mean.
Even if the ballot question passes.
Because I would anticipate that people are gonna run for the position, I mean, it's,
Yes, so
But then
that's
after
a
that,
consideration, if people in the town feel that they're in agreement with the board's position and they don't take out the papers, and the ballot question fails, you'd still have to make an appointment until the next.
so if somebody
town
runs
election.
and gets elected, and we pass it, it's 3 years before we actually make the
Correct.
appointment.
Right.
until we have an appointed.
Okay, thank you, that's fine. Thank you.
So if it went down defeated, the one person or the top one would get the job automatically for the three. And if it did pass, you'd have to wait 3 years.
Right.
And they wouldn't run because we voted to
We voted.
make it appointed after the
Yes.
3 years.
And the
So if
right?
it passes town meeting,
Yeah.
that vote stays for perpetuity, so that's never gonna go
Right.
unless town meeting revoted it. So if, that's 50% of where you need to be. If it fails at the election and somebody is elected, the selectmen could theoretically, in the following year, place it back on the ballot.
Back on.
And if it passes and there's nobody up for election at that point, the incumbent would serve his remaining 2 years, and then it would go into effect at the end of that term.
Didn't we go through that situation with the
Yes.
treasurer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Get
yes,
defeated,
yes.
right? Am I right at town
Passed
meeting?
at town meeting and failed at the ballot, so that's still, on the books as having made it through town meeting. It would just be another election question at some point.
Right. Okay.
All set, Dave?
Yeah, I'm good, yeah, thank you.
All
I
right.
move that we make,
We have to vote, yeah.
Oh, I thought we made
Oh,
the motion.
well,
Okay.
yes,
Gonna
go ahead. We have to
modify
vote on it.
Okay. Have a motion.
I made the motion.
The second?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I thought we got,
Okay.
Okay, now we get,
I
we should
move
have.
that we make the tree warden position
okay.
on the November 4th ballot, sorry.
Second.
Okay, a motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There'd be
Thank
two
you.
positions now. They
Two
could
separate.
vote three if someone run
Yeah,
Yep.
somebody
and
could-
turn the other one down.
Right.
But usually it's a combine, that whoever's in there.
Okay, discuss memo to the town council on medical marijuana bylaw amendment, town meeting article. Town council has drafted the article for the medical marijuana moratorium. Bracken Lucas has already done the background work on this article for its other municipal clients. This article meets under the state Department of Public Health regulations. Vice Chairman Murray, who serves as the selectman's representative to the zoning review committee, recommends that the selectmen vote to request the planning board to hold a public hearing on this article and to resubmit it back to the selectmen for inclusion in the November 4th, 2013 special town meeting.
We'll give it a motion.
Have a motion?
I'll read it.
Have a motion? Do we need to read
second it
this?
without
We've read
reading.
this before. didn't we?
Yeah.
No, it says,
So we got the memorandum.
Yeah, we don't need to read
no, I just, the board was interested in it. Town council already has done this work. She's
Okay.
also in the City Solicitor Town Council Association, which has had several meetings on this. And, she's, works with the town council in Wakefield that had their bylaw defeated by the Attorney General, and, the Burlington, bylaw was the model she used. So they already have this, and trying to save time with other
Mhm.
high priority, zoning articles that the,
There's
planners.
a couple other
working on.
towns around, I've seen in the paper that've done the
Exactly.
same thing. I'll give you the motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
At least all the, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, if you will.
Yes.
It's already been invented, we just need to keep it rolling.
Okay, everybody read the minutes for March 18th, 2013, executive session. Larry, have a good evening.
Larry, have them submit that name to us that you asked the question about.
I think they've already submitted it.
You haven't seen it.
Okay.
Have them resubmit it.
I
It
will
should take
check
care of
on
it.
it.
It's nothing, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Thanks, Larry. Okay.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the minutes for the executive meeting, March 18th.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain from,
April, that's right, April 22nd, executive session, 2013. Everybody read them?
Yep.
Yep. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion. We accept the minutes of Selectmen meeting on April 22nd.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Nope. I'm with Bob. I think you'll have to,
Am I absent? Okay.
you're absent.
I abstain.
We have 2 abstentions. Okay. Moving on to April 22nd, 2013. Everybody read those?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion.
Accept the
Do I have a
minutes.
second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
That's the one you had to step out of the room for, the other one, Bob, not that one. Okay. Now, moving on to April the 8th, 2013. Everybody read the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
I have
Second.
a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
August the 12th, 2013. Everybody read them? Any comments? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make that
I
motion.
have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, executive session for August the 12th.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to, again, announcements. I went through it before about the food pantry. They could use spaghetti sauce and spaghetti. That's a real quick meal. So if you would like to donate those items, just check the dates on the items, make sure they haven't expired. But they were really looking for those particular items. Anything else, they're looking for everything, especially at certain times of year. The food pantry kind of falls off the radar with people. So if you can donate anything, again, the food pantry is Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Thursdays from 5:30 to 7 p.m. There's a drop-off basket at the library, and also, again, the food pantry is located behind the parsonage, beside the Baptist church. And, you know, there are a lot of people who need it, especially at this time of year, okay? The town has the following vacant seats: zoning board of appeals, 3 open seats, 2 fence viewer positions, and a wood lumber bark inspector. Again, battery recycling box is out here, located in the corridor at the library and in the annex. Spare batteries, not spare batteries, but your expended batteries, instead of cash them into the trash and they wind up in a landfill, throw them in a little plastic bag, drop them off here at the in the drop-off box. You know, it's a good way of becoming green. With that, ask for a motion to go into executive session. A call for this motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing strategy with respect to collective bargaining, because an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town, and not to return to open session. I'll ask for a roll call vote.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Jack Cook.
All those with a roll call vote.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye, Joe Perry.
Aye, Robert Snow.
I vote aye.
I did, Peters.
With that, thank you, everyone. Good night, and we'll see you next in 2 weeks. Have a good Labor Day.